More to our continuing coronavirus coverage. Following up on the numbers now, 8,046 cases across the greater Houston area. More than 2,500 of those cases are in Harris County and the city of Houston.
Yeah, now we have seen mask mandates in other places across the state, in Dallas and San Antonio. And starting Monday, everyone in Harris County will have to cover their face outside too, or face a hefty fine. Channel 2's Vincent Crivelli joins us now with what everyone needs to know before these rules go into effect. Vincent, the new measure really isn't being taken lightly here.
Yeah, that's right. Starting Monday, you could be fined up to $1,000 for not wearing a mask in public. Meanwhile, the Galveston County judge calls the mask mandate unconstitutional. Starting Monday, anyone in Harris County 10 years and older will have to wear a face mask in public.
It's not a recommendation. It's something that we have to do.
The requirement will be in effect for 30 days and has become a hot button issue.
I mean, advise that you recommend it, but making it mandatory, nobody likes being told what to do.
However, anyone violating the order could be fined up to $1,000.
I have not met one person in law enforcement that's going to enforce that order.
David Cuevas is the president of the Harris County Deputies Organization. He says Judge Hidalgo is exceeding her authority.
We are stretched thin. Murders are up 63%, and we're concerned about having a citation issued to citizens if they're not wearing a mask.
My general counsel is crystal clear. It's unconstitutional and will get you sued.
In Galveston County, Judge Mark Henry says he believes such orders are unconstitutional and there will be no orders mandating people wear face masks in Galveston County.
We said from the beginning, we know social distancing works. Maintain the 6 feet, and that should be good enough.
Montgomery County officials say they will not order a mask mandate as there is no legal basis. Brazoria County is saying no to the idea for now, while Fort Bend County is researching it. And there are a few exceptions to the rule in Harris County. If you are driving, eating, or exercising alone, you do not have to wear a face mask. Reporting live in Houston, Vincent Crivelli, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Thank you.
Welcome to Frank and Upfront. I am your host, Mr. Franklin. A very special welcome to all of you who are joining me here on this podcast. I invite you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today's topic: the mark of the beast and the reset button. As you have just heard on the news, cities around the country and countries around the world are issuing a mandatory order for its constituents, or for their constituents rather, to wear a ear loop face mask when they're in public. As if social distancing was not enough to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, now they're saying that we mandatorily have to wear a face mask as well. I agree with the young man on the news who was interviewed and who said that people don't like being told what to do. It could have been a suggestion, not an order. I also agree with, I believe it might have been the judge, who said it's unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional. Everywhere I go in town, I see signs like the one currently displayed on your screen. Everywhere I go, I'm being told to wear my mask or to vacate their property or their premises. Many people have been wearing masks since before the order became mandatory. When it was still a suggestion, people were wearing masks. Even at that time. Now they're wearing it more than ever. When I go in Walmart I see signs that read only one item per household. Signs that would remind me of what it was like living in Jamaica in the 1970s under Michael Manley, or living in Cuba under Fidel Castro. Those are unconstitutional communist policies. It's a free country. I can buy whatever I want. I can buy how many of it I want. How dare Walmart tell me how much of one thing I can or can't buy? Supposing I need 2 or 3 or 4. It is Walmart's responsibility, among other retailers, to be thoroughly and efficiently stocked. And then I see signs like the one you see before you now on your screen. Another reminder of an implementation of new communist policies in America. Now, apparently they're making it increasingly difficult for people to buy food or do business if they're not wearing a mask. Apparently you cannot go to many retail stores unless you're wearing a mask. Cannot go to many laundromats or restaurants unless you're wearing a mask. In some cases, like with Church's Fried Chicken, for example, you cannot even go through their drive-thru without a damn mask. But then I was arguing with a lady and telling her, but ma'am, I'm not even inside the building. I'm literally in my car, in your parking lot. Doesn't matter. No mask, no entrance, or no service. You can't even pull up to the drive-thru windows of many restaurants without wearing a mask. And then I thought about it for a little while, and it reminds me of Revelation 13, or I suppose it was if my memory serves me right, I believe it was Revelation 13, verse 15. Now, the part that I highlighted in my Bible, I believe, is in reference to the corona mask that is being mandated for us to wear. And particularly the part where it says that everyone, small or great, rich or poor, free or slave, should display the mark of the beast. And if he did not, he would not be able to buy or sell or trade unless he had the mark. The mark of the beast, or perhaps I should say the mask of the beast. Because literally, in 2020, in many locations around the world, people are not able to buy or trade or get food or even go to their jobs and make money unless they are wearing the mask of the beast. Now, Revelation 13, verse 15 verifies what I believe is the consequence for those who will not obey. It says, and I read verbatim, he was given power to give breath, or life, I suppose. He was given power to give life to the image of the first beast, so that it could speak, and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. And cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. Therefore, my interpretation is, if you do not obey your overlords and wear the corona mask, the mask of the beast, you will be symbolically killed in such that you will not be able to survive in the new world order, otherwise known as the corona lockdown. When you obey and you do exactly what they tell you, you are symboling to the world that you are indeed a mindless automaton, perfectly willing and capable of being controlled by your overlords. And that those like myself who refuse to wear that preposterous mask have a mind and will of our own. We are capable of thinking for ourselves. Therefore, they are separating sheep from wolves in this society. The New World Order will not begin unless the wolves are killed first. So they want to single out the wolves, the troublemakers, the ones with minds of our own who can do our own thinking, who don't need the state to do our thinking for us, and tell us that we must wear a mask that is not very efficient in protecting us from this virus. It's not very efficient. You know what's efficient? A hazmat suit. A real actual hazmat suit is efficient. A flimsy mask that got little gaps in the corners of it, that isn't properly affixed to your skin so as to... But then again, if it was airtight, you couldn't breathe, right? So it's not supposed to be airtight. But the very thing that makes the mask breathable, the very thing that makes the mask breathable is the very thing that makes it also inefficient in protecting the wearer from catching this coronavirus. They want to single out all the wolves first. Try to sabotage your life on some level. Make sure it is painful, if not impossible, for you to trade. And with you not being able to buy or sell, you will ultimately starve and fall out of the game. You fall off to the wayside, therefore you will not survive. And then once they have the sheep now, the obedient ones, the mindless automatons, the non-player characters, NPCs, at that point will the New World Order begin in the post-corona world. But then again, I don't mind not being here in the post-corona world if that's the way it's gonna be, because it reminds me of a Jimmy Cliff song. I would rather be a free man in my grave than living as a puppet or a slave. So as sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share of what's mine. For the harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. I would rather be a free man in my grave than living as a puppet or a slave. And with that said, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm not wearing that mask. I'm not wearing it. But thank you, by the way, for revealing to me who all the mindless automaton non-player characters are in this world. Now you see why you're so easily conquered. As soon as American policies slightly shift towards a more communist persuasion, everyone willingly follows suit, not realize your rights are being slowly stripped away by the day. You don't even realize it, or you probably don't even care. You're easily conquered because you believe everything they tell you, and you're too lazy or stupid to think for yourselves, so you much rather rely on the government or the media to think for you and give you a ready-made answer wrapped up with a bow. The mask is inefficient at preventing you from being exposed to fallout. Only a damn hazmat suit with a freaking oxygen tank can do that effectively. And many of you who are still working, your cheap bosses are not providing you with hazmat suits, even in the healthcare sector, where the nurses and doctors are coming in first contact with people who have been infected with COVID-19, and they are not given hazmat suits by the very hospitals to which they are employed. If you want to be so cheap, goddammit, take it out my paycheck. I don't mind paying it back slowly but surely. You could do standard deductions on a weekly basis till it's paid off, till the hazmat suits and masks are paid off in full. But don't have me on no damn front line handling actual patients who are infected with COVID-19, where I could be at risk of getting caught. I could be at risk, if I were in that situation, I could have been at risk of maybe catching the coronavirus, taking the coronavirus home to my loved ones, so maybe I have young children or pets or elders in my household, and they could be infected, and they're the most vulnerable. And even if I don't show no signs or symptoms, the most vulnerable around me, the elderly and the children, they're probably the ones who are going to catch the coronavirus and die. So your employers don't give a damn about you, but all they're telling you to do is to wear this preposterous mask, which I already told you is a communist policy to single out the mindless automatons who will not be a problem in the New World Order. Everybody will die eventually under this New World Order, but we will die first and you will die last. If not a literal death, then most certainly a symbolic death. A death of your pride, a death of your dignity, and a death of your spirit. Is that what you want, to be led around like zombies? Think about that for a moment. Do you want your rights to be stripped away from you? By them insulting your intelligence and telling you to wear something that's not even going to protect you in the first place. I mean, sure, it might somewhat help to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, but it's not going to fully and thoroughly protect you. They want you to buy your own mask as opposed to them giving you proper equipment. Very soon, because right now they're telling the public in general that you can't buy or sell without the corona mask. Very soon they're going to start telling Postmates and DoorDash drivers as well, and Uber Eats drivers, that they also cannot trade or work without the mask. So very soon it's going to start to affect your paycheck too. Don't worry, they're going to make it mandatory. Give them about 2 or 3 weeks. They're going to make it very mandatory for food delivery drivers like DoorDash and Grubhub and all these people to mandatorily start wearing masks, else you do not work. And if you're caught not wearing one, there could be penalties. You could maybe be suspended from using their platform to make money. They're not kidding around here. It literally is the mask of the beast. You cannot buy or sell without it. Even in the midst of the global pandemic, you still have people who have a Machiavellian mindset, who still sees the opportunity to try and control people. But then again, isn't that the reason why the coronavirus was created to begin with? Isn't that the reason why it was developed and patented? And why the Chinese sold it to the Iranians and the Americans and maybe even the Russians and the British and all these people? It was created as a means of population control and population reduction. With the way things are going right now, all of this is about to come to a head. All of this is about to reach its climax. The Creator is not pleased with the fact that this whole entire earth has been taken over by psychopaths and narcissists. And people of a Machiavellian nature, which of course has no relation to the 2 young ladies here in this picture. This is a random picture I took from the internet, right? No relations whatsoever. With that said, why did the Creator allow the coronavirus to be created? I suppose, produced, if he knew it would be something bad. Isn't he omnipotent? Doesn't the Creator have the power to just swoop in and stop whoever it is who's doing acts of wickedness? And when these wicked men in China were developing the coronavirus to control the world and to dominate the masses and sell and make a profit off it, of people's suffering and people's deaths, the Creator could have stopped them from doing so, but he allowed them to create the coronavirus. Why? Here's my theory. I believe he saw opportunity. He saw an opportunity to hit the reset button on the story of creation. The world has become so greedy and selfish and corrupt. That at some point or another, the Most High, in all his infinite wisdom and glory, had to hit the reset button on the story of creation, had to wipe all the filth and the nastiness and the psychopaths off the face of the earth. Because of agendas like this, exactly because of agendas like this, and because of people using the coronavirus as an opportunity to separate the non-player characters from those who can think for themselves. And what was intended to kill us, the free thinkers, the skeptics, the ones who question everything, the ones who require empirical evidence versus hearsay, the ones who are not easily led. What was intended to kill us could very well be the Creator's right hand intervening in the situation and flipping what was intended to destroy us rather to our benefit. You see, those who are wicked, I do believe that the wicked will die first in the coronavirus. Not the free thinkers, but rather the wicked. Because they're negligent, they're often very careless, they abandon or neglect or ignore hygienic practices, and they are impatient and very much annoyed with germaphobes like myself, who they would label an OCD. They'd rather put profit over your health any day. People like that, narcissists, the wicked people on this planet, they will die first. The earth needs to be cleansed. But if we want to rule the earth righteously as it was intended, when all this is over and the smoke has cleared, then we have to seize the opportunity as it is presented. We have to recognize opportunity and seize opportunity to stop feeding into a system or paying into a system that was intended to enslave and ultimately destroy us. The 21st century slave plantation, the debt system. The abandoning of the gold standard and lending people money out of thin air. They call it fiat money. That caused countries to be in debt and individuals on a micro level to be in debt as well. This debt system for which the very elites like the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs and the Rockefellers profit for eons. It has to come to an end. But we can't just sit on the opportunity that the Creator allowed to take place despite his capabilities of stopping it. He allowed it to happen hoping that we would be smart enough and brave enough to recognize opportunity and act on it. They are now saying that we don't necessarily have to, well, that's not how they're saying it. They're saying that we will not be immediately penalized if we don't pay our bills on time. We can take advantage of that leniency and actually not pay our bills on time and kind of hold off and maybe see if we could build up our savings a bit, especially if we have none. And then the rest is up to the Creator and up to us being patient. The next thing we have to do is be patient. Don't go kill nobody now. I could never sanction people going out in the streets and just killing random people. First of all, you don't even know who's who. Second of all, you get in trouble, you get hurt or killed or whatever, and you might accidentally kill an innocent person. What I am saying is to wait upon the Creator. It reminds me of the story of Passover in the Bible. All the people whose the doorstep of their front porch was painted with the blood of the lamb, they would be spared when the wrath of God passed over the land and destroyed all the enemies, right? I can imagine something similar happening, where if you leave it up to the Creator, in His time when He's ready, He will avenge our pain. The wicked will die first. What was intended to kill or destroy or diminish the free thinkers will be backfired against the ones who plotted against us to begin with. The Creator is very much at work in the midst of all this. You let Him do His work. All you have to do is take advantage of the leniency of bill payments deadlines and be patient and wait upon the Lord. And recognize opportunity when you see one. And once all the enemies have been cleared off the land, that would be your opportunity, the righteous man's opportunity, to step in, rebuild, and rule the earth righteously as was intended before the psychopaths ever arrived on this earth even to begin with. As I was saying in last week's podcast, early humans, we thrived not in perfect peace and harmony, but in relative peace and harmony. Yes, there were tribal wars, but not to this psychopathic, greedy, Machiavellian proportion. We don't even know where that came from. We were just having our tribal wars among ourselves and enduring the minor challenges that mankind was just meant to endure on its own without the addition of the psychopathic element. And then came the conquerors, and the whole thing went to shit. Once this is over, and the Creator have taken care of all of our enemies, we must recognize opportunity to rebuild, go back to the way it was, go back to nature and the elements, and rule righteously. As we have for eons before the arrival of those of a Machiavellian mindset. And as for those of you who are wearing the mask out of fear, I'm not putting you down when I say that you're a mindless automaton. Some of you are genuinely scared. I'm not putting you down. If you're genuinely scared, I understand. My sympathies to you, but I believe you will survive. That mask is not necessary. It's not going to help you. It's not going to prevent you from inhaling fallout in the air if this thing is airborne. But what could help is cooler temperatures. And summer is approaching really fast. And we're going to get some 90-degree, really humid, nasty weather. Now would be a good time to turn up the AC or even buy an AC. Because airborne fallout or airborne illnesses, it spreads in humid conditions. But cooler Arctic kind of air or anything that would even mimic an Arctic feel to it would disable and dismantle whatever is in the air. So don't forget to buy your ACs and crank the AC this summer. No, the fan is not good enough. It has to be an AC. Has to be below 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And as far as you actually catching the coronavirus is concerned, as long as you're not eating unholy kind of foods like rat bat soup and squirrels and possums among other items you would find in a gumbo pot or a gumbo stew, as long as you're not eating the unholy critters of the land that you're not supposed to be eating, and as long as you're a younger person with a stronger immune system, then most likely, it's not 100% guaranteed, but most likely, you're not going to catch the coronavirus. You're not. Social distancing is sufficient. I actually agree with social distancing. I don't agree with wearing that god-awful, preposterous, stupid mask. And also at the same time, if it was never in the stars for you to catch the coronavirus and die young, you will live out the rest of your days on this earth. The only way you catch coronavirus is if it was preordained in the stars for you. If you were not predestined by means of karmic debt or whatever it is for you to catch this coronavirus and die young, you're not going to die young. Even if you catch it, you will probably recover. Or you'd be a healthy carrier with no symptoms. If it is not in your destiny to die young, whether or not you catch the coronavirus is irrelevant. You will live out the rest of your days on this earth. Your story is not over yet. However, despite that being the case, even if it was not predestined, you can manifest the coronavirus in your life through the laws of attraction. You attract the things you fear because you're constantly overthinking and ruminating over it. So have no fear. You're more likely to catch the very thing that you fear because you're always thinking about it. That's why you should have no fear of catching it. This thing could have very well not been predestined for you to have it, but yet you catch it regardless. Why? Because you manifest it through the laws of attraction. That's why you should have no fear and stop thinking about it and turn off the news and stop letting these idiot talking heads on the news feed your soul with fear about the coronavirus this and the coronavirus that and the coronavirus and the coronavirus and the coronavirus. Turn off the damn news and turn on some fictional storyline, some sitcom or something like that. That would distract you from this overwhelming media propaganda about this thing that you actually may never get, but could possibly manifest through fear and overconsumption of negative propaganda in the media. On a final thought, the restaurant employees. In previous podcasts, I said to be very wary of them because many of them have very nasty practices. They love to work in restaurants and cook people's food for them, and they love to invite you to their potluck or their barbecue, and they know they're nasty. It has always really bothered me. And I thought this coronavirus would have been an opportunity, seeing as how their government is forcing them and mandating them to wear gloves and wear this face mask and wash their hands. I thought that they would take heed and be cleaner. But despite them wearing a glove and a mask, they're still not practicing cleanliness up to my standards. They're not changing their gloves frequently. They're touching up their mask and pinching up their mask with their fingers and not changing their gloves or washing their hands. So then, what that tells me, they're not wearing the mask and the gloves to be clean. They're still very much nasty. Nothing has changed. They're doing it because their bosses and their government officials told them to do it. Not because they want to be cleaner, but because they were told to do it. Let me tell you a story. Recently, I went to this place, right? And of course, when I was leaving, it is customary to shake people's hands to say thank you. Now, I was excited about whatever, and I forgot. I forgot that we should maintain social distance. So I stretched out my hand to shake this man's hand. And he said, "Oh no, I can't shake your hand. They won't allow us to shake hands." I'm like, "What? What?" And then I walk away. I gave a verbal goodbye and thank you when I walk away. And when walking away, I'm thinking to myself, dude, I would have respected you more if you told me, I don't want to shake your hand, as opposed to telling me they don't want us to shake hands. So then what you're telling me is that you're a very happy slave and you like being given instructions and being told what to do. You didn't have to explain to me, oh, they don't want us to shake hands. You could have simply said, dude, I don't want to shake your hand. I would have felt some type of way, it's human emotions or whatever. But I respect that though. I respect that you're doing it because you, sir, don't want to do it, not because you were instructed not to do it. And it's the same kind of mentality that the restaurant employees have when they wear the mask and the gloves because they were told to do it, because they're signaling to their bosses and their government that they are non-player characters, that they are mindless automatons, as opposed to doing it to be clean and practice effective sanitary mindfulness to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. But yet, even though they are following instructions as opposed to acting off their own accord, when it comes to dealing with the public, however, they see an opportunity to bully the public and boss them around by enforcing the company policy as far as we're concerned. For enforcing such policies like no mask, no service, no mask, no entry, right? They have no problem. They see the opportunity because many of them are narcissistic and they're Machiavellian in their thinking and they're control freaks. So they don't care about your cleanliness or the food safety standard of your food. They don't care about that. But they quickly seize the opportunity to enforce the rules as a means of power and control. They recognize, because restaurant employees, and especially fast food employees, they're grossly underpaid. They are the most abused people yell at them, curse at them, they don't tip. They complain about the order being messed up or the order being wrong, and they overwork them without tipping. Now, if you're not going to tip somebody, that's one thing, that's your right, but please don't overwork them. You make it as easy, if you know you're not going to tip somebody, make it as easy as it is humanly possible on that person doing their job. Right? Anyway, they overwork this person and then they turn around and don't tip. That's rude. Don't do that. These people work really, really hard, and they've been abused for a very long time at their jobs. But then here now, these people, the public at large, many of them who brag about how they will so-called burn water, many of these idiots who talk about that, who talk like that, they will literally die of starvation in their homes if it were not for the restaurant staffers. So now the restaurant staffers see this paradigm shift in their conditions, and they realize that there is power, at least for them anyway, not for the customer, but there's power in all these people eating at their expense. And they're taking full advantage of that, and that's the reason for their need for control and their power and control maneuvers and them strictly enforcing the laws. Not the laws, the new company policies about how you have to wear a mask to do business with them, even if you're not physically inside their building, even if you're simply just in your car at the drive-through window. Doesn't matter. A huge chunk of the reason, because obviously they still don't care, so they're not even doing it because they care about public safety. I mean, yeah, they're concerned about their safety. That's one reason why they're enforcing the policy. They care about their own safety and to make sure they don't catch the coronavirus from a member of the public. They definitely care about that. But apart from that, another reason why they're enforcing the law so strictly is because of their ego. They see an opportunity now that there's been a paradigm shift. They see the opportunity to boss around the public. Seeing as how they were always abused and bossed around when things were so-called normal, now they're the ones bossing around the public when they realize that many members of the public are literally eating at their mercy and will starve to death without them. And that's just one more reason why they are strictly enforcing the new company policies, insisting you wear a mask, insisting you stay outside or you maintain social distance of 6 feet or more, or that you don't use their bathroom, or that you only only use their drive-through but not their dining area or their pickup area inside the actual lobby of the store. Now, are you saying that could be maybe retribution for certain abusive members of the public and to serve them right? Probably. Probably not that it really faze them. I mean, the ones who can't cook, it will faze them. But many people, it won't really faze them very much. They have options, so it's not retribution in their case. Only in the case of the ones who can't cook. Anyway, my question is, what is the solution? I have a prospective solution in mind. let us try being kinder to restaurant staffers. They work really hard, people. I used to work in a restaurant a while back. They work really hard. It's hard work. When the restaurant closes, the store closes, they're sitting there working, preparing for tomorrow's workday, stocking the pantry, stocking the fridge, food prepping, chopping up all the lettuce and all that, rinsing the vegetables. They're doing all that for tomorrow's workday. They work very long, arduous hours. And it's a thankless job, and it goes unappreciated. As far as their lack of sanitary mindfulness is concerned, I already suggested in the podcast in which I did speak about that, I suggested cameras and perhaps an open kitchen policy where you could look through a mirror, or not a mirror. You could look through a window. You could look through a window and see what they're doing, and they're always on display. Right? And for people who are at home ordering on the app, perhaps there could be a feature in the app where, even though it's an invasion of privacy, there could still be a feature in the app where they'll be able to actually enable camera spying, where they could literally spy, tap into the restaurant's surveillance system and spy on their staffers in the kitchen. Even though that could have some legal issues because it's a potential violation of privacy. But then again, you're spying into these people's operations at their job, not their homes. So that's probably how that case could be won by those in favor. So we already talked about an open kitchen policy. And that remains in effect. We still need to maintain that open kitchen policy where they're less likely to do something nasty to your food or something questionable if they know that they're constantly on display and all eyes are on them. That's one thing. Another thing that we can do our part by being nicer to restaurant staffers. Maybe they'd be less likely to contaminate your food with foreign objects if you're actually nicer. Maybe it's the douchebags who are getting their foods patted. I'm not saying it serves them right, but it kind of serves them right. But they could have went about it differently, though, right? They could have went about it differently. The disgruntled restaurant staffer could have went about it differently. It didn't have to resort to sneezing or coughing over people's food. People are not handling their grouses very maturely, I find. They're not very mature in handling their grouses. One thing, if you have a troublesome customer at your restaurant, one thing you could probably do is report him to your supervisor and have him banned. You have the power to ban people from coming into your store. You don't have to resort to contaminating people's food with your nasty sneezing and coughing. But some people are just wicked like that. They're just wicked. And revenge-minded. Very vindictive. But for those who can be reasoned with, they'll be less likely to contaminate your food if you're nicer to restaurateurs. How about you thank them for being on the front line serving people when they could be at home with their families keeping safe? And when things get back to so-called normal, which I hope it doesn't, I hope things doesn't get back to normal, because normal wasn't working, so we have to create a new kind of normal. A brave new world. We have to seize the opportunity, like I said, to create a new kind of normal. So when this is over with and things get back to relative normalcy, I hope we can learn who truly we should value. Because celebrities and musicians and all these Kardashian sluts are not really saving your life right now. The doctors and nurses and grocery store clerks and restaurant staffers and these people, they're the ones who are doing that. And delivery drivers. They're the ones saving your life, not not the celebrities who you look up to. They are nowhere to be found right now. So perhaps when this whole saga ends, we can learn who truly to respect and who truly to appreciate and thank for their service and for them being out on the front line, putting their lives at risk. And the respect can be rightfully and evenly distributed among those who actually work for it. That could be a good start to encouraging. And by the way, for the actual restaurateurs who hire these people, give them a damn raise, man. They deserve a raise. I'm not, you notice, I'm not here bashing them. I'm calling them out on their faults and their bullshit, but I'm not really bashing them. I'm trying to find solutions here. Give these restaurant staffers a damn raise. They deserve it. Get them a raise. At least $2 extra per hour. They deserve the raise. Give it to them. They're out there exposing themselves to corona fallout at the risk of getting sick. They deserve a damn raise. It's time we show them some more respect and appreciation. And maybe then, just maybe, because some people are just nasty regardless and they will never change, but if we show the effort, maybe then they'll put out the extra effort to practice sanitary mindfulness when handling customers' meals. Next week's topic: the narcissistic, religious hypocrite profiting of dereliction in the black community. I hope you join me then. I am Mr. Franklin. This has been Frank and Upfront.